Sometimes it's more than just hockey.
Hi, I'm Robert Thomas, and this is Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to Locked On Blues. I'm your host, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about something that's been heavy on my mind and something that I feel like we do every single May on this podcast, where we talk about some mental health stuff. We're going to also talk about the draft lottery tomorrow. And the T-Birds series tied 1-1. They won game 1, lost game 2. But, this team is putting up a fight, and I want to talk to you about that. We have a lot to get into, so let's just dive into things. One topic that I am very passionate about is mental health. And in hockey culture, especially, I feel like it's getting better, but it's not where it should be yet. I've had the privilege of talking to many NHL players, alumni, and the one thing that they have told me in my many conversations is that it's really difficult to express mental health struggles. And being a hockey player, you have to usually act tougher than most because people associate hockey players with being tough, right? And I feel like it's really important to just open up that conversation. Listen, I'm not going to be naive by any single means. I understand that for women, it's a little bit easier to express mental health than it is for men. And that's just because everyone always has said, society wise, that men have to be tough and they have to be the strong ones. But the reality is, I don't really think it matters the gender. I think that mental health is universal. And I know that there's been some hockey players that have expressed some stuff with their mental health and showing emotions, and they get criticized for it. One player that got criticized a lot was Jordan Kyrou when the fans booed him and he showed emotion by crying post game. And and this was a couple seasons ago, but so many people were so quick to judge and call him weak, call him all of these degrading names because he showed human emotion. I think it's important to have those conversations because at the end of the day, there has never been as much research done when it comes to mental health, where there's things. I'm not saying that there's cures, right? If there is, let me know. But there definitely is a lot of resources. And doing this podcast, the one thing that I feel like I want to do is to just spread some kindness, right? I talk about the St. Louis Blues every day, 5 days a week. Um, and as great as it is talking about the Blues, I am also somebody that's an advocate for a lot of things, a lot of charities. Um, the it gets me very emotional even talking about it because of the impact. But Johnny and Maddie's 5K, it's coming up in a few weekends. And, I had an interview with the family about a month ago. And, there's a lot of things that are not just blues related or not just hockey related. It's bigger than that. The hockey community, it's it's special, it's unique, and it's such a family. And one thing that I personally want to do is just open up a conversation. This hockey season, I'm going to be very honest with you all. This has been one of the most difficult years for me in my own personal life. With things, honestly, that I don't know how I got through each day, and this podcast literally helped me. I remember back in it was October and November of summer of 2000, not summer, November, October and November of 2025. Um Again, I'm not going to tell you what happened in my life, but what I can say is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, and nothing will ever beat it. So, anyways, the Blues were coming to town, right? And I was like, okay, this is my Super Bowl. This is the one time they come to my town. And this podcast was the biggest distraction in my life. Not even just the podcast, but even just the guys coming to town. I had a great interview. I won't ever forget it with Braden Shen. I'll definitely have to play it at some point this summer. And it was one of the most distracting things that I needed. And the reason why I'm even saying this to you is that there's something very special about having a passion when it comes to hockey. Many of us watch games, not just because we love hockey, but because it distracts us from the everyday world, right? And I think for me, I've never thought of it in that way. I always thought, oh, I'm watching hockey because I like hockey. It's like my favorite thing. But I never thought of it as a way that could help me with my mental health, right? So the reason why I share that is because we have such a tight community here on Locked On Blues. I mean, some of you don't agree with anything I say, and that's fine. Again, I'm not going to, be upset if you don't agree with my opinions. There's times where I'll listen back to an episode like a couple weeks later, and I'm like, why did I say that? Not my Robert Thomas takes. That I agree with. But a couple other takes, I'm like, ooh, hell, not the best take. And I only bring that up just for the pure fact that I want you to always feel like you have a community here with this podcast. I understand that this is a hockey podcast, right? I do get that. But there's also real life that happens. And we've had conversations about some real life things that have happened in the hockey community that is more than just hockey. And it wouldn't serve me to do a show and not mention the importance of mental health. Because again, in the hockey community, it's so suppressed. Um I'll tell you another story. Okay. So I've been working in hockey now for quite a while. I started in college doing like play by play, but I cover a team in person, my hometown team, and then obviously with my Blues podcast, the team that I'm a fan of. So as I stated, this past year was one of the most rough, rough years I have ever gone through in my life. And I can tell you, besides the hockey community and just being distracted by the game, it's the people that, the writers, the podcasters, TV, radio, all of it. I have never been around such a supportive community. And even, the fans, right? I hate calling people that read my work fans because at the end of the day, like, we're all just people. Um, but even the support, right? And it's like you think about maybe even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I don't think it would be like that. Now, I'm not saying that anyone's a bad person for not, being understanding of mental health. I just think that in this day and age, it's a lot more socially talked about, accepted, I guess you can say, than it was previously. And I think that just goes to show that the more we talk about it and the more that we advocate for each other and the more that we just honestly, like as silly as this sounds, just check in on our friends and family or even just smile to a stranger, um, it does make a difference because with social media, it's kind of isolating, right? You kind of feel alone a lot. And then you see people living their best lives. It's like, whoa, okay, I'm not on the same timeline as you. Um, Let me panic. No, but I just wanted to come on here and just essentially say that you guys have no idea how much this podcast saved me earlier this year, and it still does every day. There's nothing more I love than talking about the Blues with you all, but I hope that you feel like you're, in this community because you are. And again, my DMs on Twitter at Locked On Blues are always open if you ever need to talk. Um, you're not alone, and I appreciate you. And I genuinely mean that. Like, I just want you to know, um, because I feel like right now it's just you and I sitting talking with each other. I just want you to know at the end of the day, obviously we have the Blues, we have hockey, but we all have each other. And that matters, man. All of that matters. So there's no easy way to transition from talking about mental health to the draft lottery, but we're going to do it anyways. So cue the really awkward transition from that. Missed calls and slow follow ups are silent killers for businesses. That's how money gets left on the table without people even realizing it. And that's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled QUO, the business communication system built so you never miss a call. Quo helps businesses keep every conversation organized by letting your entire team manage calls and texts from one shared number. No more drop messages, missed opportunities, or disconnected communication. It's designed for how modern businesses actually operate. The part that I love is that everything lives in one clean thread: calls, texts, and voicemails. The whole team sees the conversation so nothing falls through the cracks. And the AI summaries save serious time by logging calls and highlighting the next steps automatically. It just makes your business feel more organized and responsive. Money is on the line. Always say hello with Quo. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/locked on NHL. That's quo.com/locked on NHL. You got a sweet tooth like I do. You know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all the sugar. And that's why the cotton candy 5-hour energy shot brings that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. This is the classic cotton candy taste you remember, but with a tasty caffeine boost and zero sugar. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I've always loved cotton candy, but I can't be eating sweets all day. This is the perfect alternative. The flavor really does bring that throwback fruity vanilla vibe, and it's surprisingly smooth. I like how convenient it is too. It's just a small portable shot, so I can grab it whenever I need a little pick me up. It's become my go to when I want something sweet without going overboard. Bring on the sweetness with cotton candy 5-hour energy shots. Available online now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. I also want to let you know about the Everydayer Club. The Everydayer Club is only $5 a month, and it allows you to listen to audio, my one cat, audio free episodes of Locked On Blues for just $5 a month. You're also invited to an exclusive Discord chat where you can talk amongst each other all things blues. So again, go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer. The best part about this is it automatically goes to your Spotify, Apple Music. So literally once you sign up, it is there for good. My one cat that you see in a lot of my videos, her name's Carmela. My other cat Stella is in my room. It's her birthday actually. Um she listens to the show. Like she's so focused, and if you're on YouTube you can see, and she really does pay attention. It's amazing. It's like having a live studio audience. Well, speaking of a live studio audience, that's what's going to happen tomorrow because it is the draft lottery and the Blues. Okay. Let me say this. Anything can happen I believe in miracles. I do. Like there was miracle on ice, maybe there's miracle in ping pong balls. I just know that miracles happen every single day. And for the Blues, I do believe it is possible. It is possible for them to get a top 7 draft pick. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hale, top 7, not even like top 10. Okay. Yeah, like they're at 11 right now. So it's like getting like a top 10. Okay, you move up 1. Fine. But a top 7, I don't know. Like there's something that's giving me that vibe. I feel like it could happen. Now, the Blues do have multiple entries. Okay, kind of. So they have Detroit's and they're 15th overall. So they have a 0.5% chance of getting first overall with that. However, with their 11th overall draft pick, they have a 3% chance. Yeah, that's right, baby. So combo it up, it's a 3.5% chance to get first overall. Will it happen? Probably not. But could a top 7 happen? More than the chances of getting that first overall. So what we're going to do, we're going to have fun because we're going to be talking about prospects for a long time up until the draft, right? I mean, this is going to be our main point for this offseason in the beginning stages of it for us. Prospects. Now, again, it depends on where we're going to end up drafting. Obviously, if we don't get first overall, I'm never going to talk about Gavin McKenna here on this podcast because that would be absolutely stupid and a waste of time for us. But if we get like first or second overall, absolutely, I'll talk about McKenna. I think it just goes to show that the importance of this lottery is beyond real. And I'm really hoping and praying to the hockey gods. That's what you need to do. You need to pray to the hockey gods because if they get a top 7 draft pick, I'm telling you, there's a lot of good talent. Okay, so let's go to Tankathon. Okay, 1 hour and 6. Oh, wait, not 1 hour. 1 day and 6 minutes because it's at 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. But I'm kind of laughing because I said 1 hour. Could you imagine? Okay. So let's go see where we end up. We stayed at 11. We stayed at 11. We stayed at 11. We moved up, my friends, to first overall. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. I'm going to put that on Twitter at Locked On Blues. Honestly, that took me 4 tries and we ended up getting first overall with a 3% chance. So if that only took me 4 tries, right? And we ended up getting first overall, maybe that's like the hockey gods essentially signaling to me, hey, Hale, just to let you know, this could happen. Let's go see. Let's go to Locked On Blues. I always forget my Twitter account information. Okay, that's definitely not the password. Okay, that's okay. So I don't know what the password is. but here's the good news. I can just DM it to myself. See? Gotta think smarter. That's a really good sign. Now, I need to ask you, are you going to be upset if the Blues don't get the first overall? Like, is that going to be, oh, hey, I'm a little disappointed? Or would you be okay with getting like a top 7? Would you be okay with staying? That's another possibility. The Blues, they could just stay. I'm going to say hi to Locked On Blues. See, I am DMing myself. That is a crazy thing to do. And I'm going to send it. But, I mean, realistically, it could happen. I don't know. I take this as a sign from hockey gods above. Now, Dylan, my good friend Dylan, who comes on the show, he sent me a message and we're going to end up talking about the T-Birds not obviously today, but soon because they're in the playoffs right now, round 2. Let me go save this. I'm going to tweet it. It only see, this is where the podcast is cool because, like, you're seeing my thought process when tweeting. It only took me 4 tries for the Blues to get the first overall. The hockey gods might be listening. Bleep the haters. Yeah. I don't know why I added bleep the haters. I think that I'm just sick of like people hating on the Blues, and that was that. All right, T-Bird series tied 1-1. We're going to talk about that on the other side. But first, the hunt is on for the Stanley Cup, and now you can even trade every game on KALSHI. On KALSHI, you can trade every single playoff game, every series, the conference finals, and the championship. One of the teams that I think you should put some shmoney on is going to be Colorado. I think that they have a really good chance of even sweeping Minnesota. And so game 2, Minnesota at Colorado. Minnesota has a 37% chance, with Colorado with a 65% chance of that payout being 154. So for me, honestly, that's a really good payout. So on KALSHI, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your positions. For a limited time, download the KALSHI app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, 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 trade on anything. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When it comes to our AHL affiliate, the Springfield Thunderbirds, it is worth noting that it has actually been some very good and interesting hockey. And for me, I'm going to be honest, I hate the fact that the Blues are not in the playoffs. I am kind of crashing out over it. I mean, listen, I crash out all the time over everything, but especially that, right? And right now, this series is tied. Now, here's the thing. For Springfield going up against Providence, Providence is one of the best teams, right? Can't deny it. And I personally think that the fact that they won game 1, because I said that they were going to win game 1. I did say that on Thursday's episode. It proved to me that this team has a lot of fight to them. Now, in the last contest, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't surprised necessarily that they lost. And again, it was a 2-1 Providence Bruins win. And it wasn't like that loss, by the way, was as bad as maybe it seemed. I mean, the 2 goals that Providence scored were in the first frame as well as the T-Birds. And then the 40 minutes in the second and final frame, there was nothing going on. And again, I think it was just being able to get those shots on goal was a little bit difficult, right? But again, I think that there is a lot of positivity, right? And it's interesting because for me, Dylan Dubé scored, right? And I think, in my opinion, they just have to play a little bit closer to the net. Now, I get Providence is very man-to-man coverage, right? I get that. But I think playing more zone-wise would be beneficial. So if you're able to get close to the post and just wrap it around and try to shove it into a corner, that might be your best option. You have to be a little bit sneaky and creative, or you could always go for the 5-hole, but I doubt it. Again, I'm always about the slap shot, baby. It's going to be a little bit tougher with this Providence team. But overall, I do feel like going back on home ice tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of advantage. Cinco de Mayo, draft lottery. I mean, there's a lot of good things happening, but I really want to see Otto step it up, Theo step it up. Hugh McGing looked really good, by the way. That was another player that I was a fan of. But I just want to see some of the guys that were on the Blues this season just step it up. But again, I'll take it. Listen, it was a tight-knit game. Providence, great defense. Just need to see the T-Birds step it up. But hey, I'll take a series that's tied 1-1 with one of the best in the league right now. So a win's a win from that. I can't believe they lost to the Checkers 8-1, by the way. And now here they are in the second round. It's incredible. I love the turnaround. All right, I will talk to you all tomorrow. And like always, let's go Blues.